Go.
Good morning and welcome to, yes, Mondays on the Daily Huddle. Today is a special Monday for so many reasons. First, because it is the birthday of the late, great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And it's also a special day because Kimberly and Zach are not with us. So I am stepping in as your host for Monday, and I am going to kick us off with a little joke. I don't even know if it's a joke, it's just a little known fact, actually, about the invention of the crowbar. Did you know, Giovanni, what happened before the invention of the crowbar?
The invention of the crowbar. Is it the thing that goes like that? That
Well,
scares?
before the convention of the crowbar, crows simply had to drink at home.
I don't know. That's terrible. I don't know.
That is terrible. We can only go up from here. I set the bar low. Oh, that's terrible. I have to agree. Good morning again. Monday morning, Martin Luther King Day. What a beautiful, beautiful day to celebrate. We miss Kimberly and Zach, but I am so excited to be here with Giovanni Gonzalez. And before we dig in, because he's our guest today, I want to just share a little story about Giovanni Gonzalez. And I've shared this before, but it has it will forever have impacted me. And it is this: Giovanni is a successful businessman. And sometimes when people become very successful, I think that they think they've got things all figured out. Well, I sent a blog out many, many weeks ago, and Giovanni sent me a message about how much he learned from a short little article that I wrote. Giovanni, as smart and as successful as he is, continues to keep himself in a vulnerable space that allows him to learn and grow. And I am forever inspired by that and grateful to be your friend. So I would like to welcome Giovanni. I am really happy to be here with you. And before we dig into the question of the day, I do want our listeners to know what I'm referencing when I talk about your wild success. Gio is an authority on leadership development and an expert on building high performance teams. He's the founder and CEO of Mindful Performance Blueprint and the creator of the 3-day leadership course, Access the Leader Within. For over 12 years, Giovanni has mentored business leaders, community leaders, and entrepreneurs to elevate their ability to positively influence others and build high-performing teams. His work has ranged from working with companies that have over 20,000 plus employees on how to create a high-performance culture to working with startups committed to making a difference and leaving a legacy. He has helped dozens of entrepreneurs and business leaders grow from 5 figures to 6 figures and from 6 figures to 7 figures. And many companies double and triple their revenues by accessing and leveraging the talent pool they already have within their teams. Giovanni has a bachelor's degree in international business, a master's in the science of management and leadership. Anecdotes of Giovanni's life and his personal transformation have been published in his book entitled La Mente de un Immigrante. This book employs a simple conversation that has inspired many others to transform their lives. So we are counting on you today to transform our lives. Giovanni, welcome.
Tara, thank you for introducing me in such a complete way. I profoundly appreciate it, Tara.
I am super excited. Our question of the day is the number one strategy that you can count on to scale your business in 2024. So, what is the number one strategy that you can count on to scale your business in 2024? I can't wait to get to that. But I first want to dig into a little bit of the history about how it is that you've come to this conclusion early in the year. So, tell us a little bit about your company and what you're doing for your clients.
Well, awesome. Thank you, Tara. And given that today is Money Mondays, I one of one of the conversations, if you will, that I'm mostly passionate about is to support people, give people tools to expand their capacity to make money. And because I think that most of us, I really mean most of us, a tiny little percentage of people, most of us really wake up in the morning with a sense of how do I continue to expand my financial capacity. Most of us are thinking of how to grow our bank account. And certainly that has been for me for many, many, many years. And one of the things that, and it still is, of course, and one of the things that I was dealing with for many years was that I was growing in many areas of my life, and I was expanding, and I was feeling confident, and things were looking good in a particular way, but my bank account wasn't. And given that my bank account wasn't, I was feeling like I wasn't growing as a person. So there is in my experience as a facilitator and as a coach, this very big attention to people's self-worth around their around their bank account. And it
Okay.
couldn't be further, and it couldn't be further from the truth, right? The bank account is just an aspect of somebody's life.
Hmm.
It's just that one. It's just that when a person doesn't have it, most people they really have this low or disempowering view of life, pretending that they don't. And so, one of the things that first if I need to, that one of the things that first I address if I'm talking to a business owner or someone who wants to grow their bank account is that I get a sense of where their relationship with money is. How much is money giving them, how much their relationship with money empowers them? Or is it something that they want to pretend they don't want to, and they don't, it's not really something for them. They're just kind of because they are good people and they are professionals and they have integrity, more than likely they're going to attract it. And so they have this kind of like, I like it's necessary evil kind of thing. And
Okay.
rarely, rarely people make money with that mindset. Rarely. I haven't met someone who, with that mindset, actually makes some significant, juicy appetizers kind of money. So that's the first thing I owe before I go into the strategy, because if I jump into the strategy right away, the strategy is so simple that most people are going to ignore it. And I do want to say something about this strategy that I tested. We have worked at this point with highly likely over 100 industries at this point. And I really started testing it when we started doing our masterminds. And we do our mastermind once a year, and we invite our friends and clients and prospects to join us. And when they join us, they go through a journey with us for about 5 months. And this strategy that I'm going to talk about is something that I really pay attention to with some of the business owners. And so far, it has created over 8 millionaires. But these are the ones that I can count on, because on our masterminds, some people I don't stay in touch that much, so I haven't
Okay.
seen their numbers. But I'm talking about people who have had businesses for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, but never quite reached $1 million mark on sales.
Hmm.
And there's this little thing, it's always this little thing to do. It's not a big, huge deal. And so we're going to talk about that what is that one thing. And before, I do want to really stress the possibility of expanding one's capacity in being, in a way of being, to be in love with the possibility of abundance. And I really mean in love with the possibility of abundance. And that's really hard for some people. And the way I started growing this possibility for abundance is when I was at a seminar, and this was a Amway seminar. It was not a
I'm
seminar, but
familiar.
it was an introduction, right?
Yep.
And I remember being there, Tara, and I was kind of sort of forced to be there. My friend said, "You got to come see this introduction, and you can make money." And it was a really young age for me. And at that point, I knew everything about everything.
Absolutely.
I was. Have you ever seen the movie Moana with the never seen? You don't have small children. Well,
Yeah, it's
there's this
Disney, isn't
called
it?
Moana, and there's this guy called the Semigod, and or I don't know, Maui or something. He has this song of saying thank you because he's like a semigod, and everybody needs to thank him for being around. So I was that in my early 20s. Like I knew everything about everything, and you couldn't tell me otherwise. And I couldn't be farther from it couldn't be farther from the truth. I was so wrong, but that was my way of being. And
That
so I
is
entered the
so transformational compared to who you are today. That is, let's just take that for a minute. So you were this like arrogant, know-it-all kind of guy.
yes,
I,
yes,
I, I, I'm going to have proof of that, but go ahead. I
in my
can't
early 20s.
imagine.
That's which, but it really was that way. And it's not like I had anything to prove it. It's just that it was a defense mechanism to deal with with the
Insecurities.
criticism of society, if you will,
Absolutely.
of how I should be and I shouldn't be. So I was always that way. And so I
Okay.
enter this room like this with my arms crossed. And then this guy comes in front of the room and he starts kind of creating this, captivating the audience and this possibility of setting goals and achieving them and making money. And I was sitting there thinking, you're so arrogant. Just because life is better for you and it's easier for you, you're going to now pose yourself as someone who's better than us or better than me, right? And I was like this, and he's being super generous and he's creating and expanding and creating possibilities. And then he said, because I know you're good people. You're good people that do very little for society. And I was like, excuse me? How dare you say that? And I'm really upset, right, with this guy. And he doesn't know it. I'm just listening, right? And then he said, you need most, he said, money makes more of people, money makes more of, money makes people more of what they already are. And if you're a good person and you've got money, you can do so much more. And then he started saying some of the things that he does. And at the time he was paying, he said, last year I paid in taxes. And he said like $4 million. I paid in taxes for $1 million last year. But it's only reduced by all this money that I did in this charity and this charity and this charity and this charity. Right? So I like for you to expand your capacity to have abundance so that you can heart can shine out there. And I got it. And that was the first time. That was the first time that I broke something within me in my resistance to create abundance. It took me about 10 years to make money, but that was the first time. That was the first time that I said, okay, I got it. And then the next thing that I want to say in the context of mindset, do you want me to stop there or you want me to say one more
Uh,
thing?
no, no, no. I have to say, how old were you around when this took
I
place?
was about 23.
Hmm. In all the studying that I do, I've learned that you learned something much earlier. I've read so many research articles about people interviewing millennials and asking them what they want from life. And they say things like wealth, but they don't say because of making a difference. They say things like fame, power. One of my favorite comments was a girl said, I want to be rich. It's easier to cry on a yacht than in a Subaru.
Yes, yes.
But
I
they
love
didn't
that
see
saying.
what you were telling us today. Is that to have abundance can truly, truly help you to bring goodness to the world. So I'm intrigued.
Yeah, that's where my mind was at the time. I certainly did not want fame or power or anything like that. I saw that at the time, I made it wrong. I saw that very superficial, if you will. Uh, what do you call that? A bankrupt idea, if you will. So, so then, so I really wanted to start making money like most people do, and I wanted to have this big impact, and I wanted to make a difference. And then I wasn't doing it because I thought, well, I'm a good person, so I deserve it somehow. Like being a good person makes you have money, and nothing could be farther from the truth. So it's certainly, I think, it's valid to say good things happen to good people, but not money.
Love it. That's a mic drop moment. Good things happen to good people, but not money.
Not money, not money at all. You know, I have this really incredible family, but none of us, none of them have money, and but they're really good people. And so I started from a different mentor. Then I started to get. that in order to make more money or making a bigger difference, one needs to develop a capacity to provide more value to more people. It's about providing more value to people. And so I was thinking it was about something about providing value to nerd myself, to nature somehow, or something that includes everything but people. And that couldn't be further from the truth. It's about providing value to people, the people in your life, the people that you want to support. How do you provide more value to them? How do you solve a bigger problem to people? It's not a problem to a company. It's a problem to people. So I started thinking in that context, how do I solve people's problems? What is the problem I want to solve? What is the problem that ignites me? What is the problem that I like? And then surrender to it, right? And so those two things really started to shift for me my capacity to naturally attract abundance, naturally. So I want to talk about the mindset first a little bit. Absent of the mindset, the strategy I'm about to talk about makes so simple, it just makes no difference. So Tara, I'm ready for the strategy, unless you have a question.
No, I'm on the edge of my seat. I got my pen in hand.
Okay, well, the strategy is so simple, even a caveman can do it. And it's tested, right? And we use it in our business, and then we use it in other people's businesses. Okay, so a business has as its goal to grow, to expand, not a hobby. A hobby doesn't have to grow. A business has to grow. So I'm going to speak in the context of growing your business, right? Not sustaining, growing it, right? So the strategy is very, very, very simple. The number one strategy that we use in every business and we can count on is to have one person dedicated to, or a system dedicated to growing consistently a prospect list, and then nurture that prospect list with massive value. Okay, I'm going to say it again, because that's the strategy. It's very simple. To have one person dedicated, and that person can be, the business owner, to have one person dedicated to grow consistently. The key word here is consistently, the prospect list, or to have a system that would be a marketing campaign, if you will, to have a system dedicated to grow a prospect list. And then it doesn't stop there. And then have a system nurturing that prospect list with massive value. And why is it important? Well, the strategy is quite simple. I need to have one person growing my prospect list consistently, month after month.
It's simple, but it is definitely not easy to figure out the best way to do that. So
it's not easy, and it's easy. Not easy, and it's easy because if I was going to talk to someone, or whenever I go into a small business or a medium business, they're already doing something to grow their prospect list. So they tell me, right? They tell me, okay, well, this is what I do to grow my prospect list, to get more prospects, right? And then we look at, okay, what would we need to do so that you only do that? That's the only job you do. And then if it's a person, it's in one man person, right? One man business, then he or she will think, well, I can't just dedicate myself to that. Then we think of ways to create a marketing system that I am building, I'm paying, so that every month I'm getting prospects from a particular strategy, and it's growing and it's coming somewhere into my pipeline. And then I have a system nurturing it with massive value.
Okay.
And so that the strategy does need some conversation. It does need a conversation, but I didn't want to not talk about the simplicity of it. So it is just having one person from the business, it can be the business owner, completely dedicated to growing the prospect list. And then, but it doesn't stop there. And then have a system creating massive value to that person. Why is it important to create massive value as a system? Because people are not ready to buy now all the time.
Right.
And that is critical to develop a relationship, an emotional relationship with that prospect list over months and over years through value.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do this all the time, and we have in our businesses we do it, and in other businesses we do it. Now, the aspect that a business owner usually has a hard time is to either bring somebody on board, or they have a hard time letting go some aspects of their business. But it is really it's a possibility that is really what's the word I'm looking for? It's really exciting, because when a person who's doing it all by himself or herself actually gets one person to grow the prospect list consistently, or a system to grow it consistently,
Mm-hmm.
everything in their business expands. Everything, because they have to generate themselves to nurture and to provide service to the new clients. So everything grows for that person. Okay, so I'll stop there.
Okay. So I think, like, theoretically, this makes perfect sense to me. What I would love to hear is a really solid example, and you don't have to use names, of a company that they hired this person. What were they doing? Were they giving away something to get email subscribers and then sending out? Were they doing more social media posts? Like, tell us tactically what that might look like. Look, you've got the person in place. All they're going to do is grow and nurture and bring value to a prospect list. What does that look like?
No, it's not that simple. And that's why I'm saying
No.
it in this very abstract way,
Okay.
because different businesses are at different stages. So, for example, I'll give you a few examples of
Okay.
people I've worked with. So I have this flooring company, for example, and they're doing about 1.2 million a year. So they're doing all right, and they've been in business for about 12 years. And he really, really wants to grow his business. He wants to double it, and he wants to just expand, right? And then he says, so I got my installers, right? I'm going out and I'm doing the estimates, and so I'm providing it to them. And then I got this other person to do the account management, meaning they hold the relationship between the people who do the work and the customer,
Okay.
right? That keeps the relationship together. And said, okay. So then I told him, all right, so you're the main person who brings the prospects, right? And he says, yeah, I'm the one who would mostly do it. And then I said, okay, so when you're sick, when you have to do the accounting, or when you have to do something else, who's looking for new prospects for you? And then he says, well, the thing is that I don't know if I can pay somebody new to or train that person to continue to bring prospect lists, because I don't know if my business is there. So that's one aspect, you see. It's like, oh, okay, so there's this kind of fear. And then I'm really the one who knows about the business and how to do the estimates. So I don't know if that person is going to do it right, and I don't want to miss opportunities. So that's kind of like where that business owner got stuck with. And then I said, okay, well, what would it cost the business? What would it cost the business if you're sick for 3 weeks? And then he gave me the number, and it was a huge number. And the
Right.
number was pretty much the cost of that person for 6 months. And then I
Oh,
asked, yeah, and then I asked, okay, so would it be worth giving it a shot, a calculated value, to hire somebody new and train them so that they can double or triple that lost? And he says, oh, absolutely, it is worth it. So now he sees the risk. And so we hired one person. We got one person, and then he trained that person. And only on that person, he's doing right now 3.1 million. And it only took him about a year and a half to get there. Now, there are other things that are in other variables that I'm not mentioning now. However, a dedicated person allows for that person to grow in strategy, because the business owner couldn't grow in strategy because the business owner had to deal with the accounting, had to deal with the marketing, had to deal with the processes, had to deal with the employees, or had to deal with different things. So because even though he was an expert in that area, if you will, he couldn't constantly grow on a regular basis, only on sales. So that's one example.
Okay. So it's that so the actual actions behind this strategy are obviously going to be very specific to a business. It might be Facebook ads, it might be email, it might be going out into the community, networking. You're talking about all those sales development type of activities.
Yeah, so that each business has a different one. So I'm going to share a screen. I'm going to share a screen here to all the different things that I take a look at with the business owners. I asked, what are you doing? These are all different ones to grow your prospect list. And these are 33 different ones, right? Instagram giveaways, videos, referrals, Facebook ads, challenges, Google ads, influence, door knocking, workshops, campaigns, YouTube, cold calling, seminars, apps, phone calls, networking, Twitch, lead magnets, direct mail, going live, proximity partners, channels, free events. So there's so many ways. Yeah. So then I asked, which ones are you doing? Mm-hmm. Right? I want to know which ones are you doing and which ones really bring you value. Which ones really have return on investment. I was working with a law firm, right? And this is a really simple one. I was working with a law firm. And with the law firm, they said, well, what really brings the revenue is this relationship I have with the chiropractor. And I said, how many chiropractors do you have with a strong relationship? And then this lawyer said, one. And I said, okay, great. Let's go get 5 more. Let's go get 5 more chiropractors. And she said, well, I don't have time. No problem. Let's get someone from your team to only dedicate for the next 3 months to have 5 more new relationships with chiropractors. And then, so we had to shift things around, right? Because there's not a person for that. And then, so there's another way, there are things to think about to move someone around. Anyways, we got that person, and this lawyer got 2 more chiropractors, and the business doubled. So it was simple. It's just really simple things, but the key is to have someone dedicated to consistently grow it and then nurture that relationship. Always nurturing. It's a very simple thing to do that all businesses can do, mostly. I'm going to say 90% of them. So I'm going to stop there.
Yeah. I have learned that that nurturing piece is absolutely key, because people forget about you. And then when they need you, you're not there. But if you just keep in touch with an authentic relationship building process, when they're ready, they automatically think of you. I'm kind of pissed right now. I'll tell you why. Last week, our Daily Huddle family considered making the Daily Huddle a little bit longer. And I was like, no. And damn it, I wish this could go longer. This is so valuable. We're about to run out of time already. Does anybody have a quick question? If not, then I want your last few words of wisdom, and we will close us out on this beautiful holiday Monday morning. It looks like we have one question. I think that might be Cece.
Yes, it is. This is excellent information. I wish we did have more time, and thank you so much, Giovanni. Pass.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I couldn't agree more. I would love to look at that screen again. And let me ask you one last question then. And then if you'll close us out with some words of wisdom. But the one last question is, how would someone go about prioritizing this? And then your last words of wisdom.
Prioritizing which
yeah, like which of these, like when I look at this, I'm like, I do 2 of these, maybe more, really one.
Yeah, no, that's a big question, though. It's not a small question, though. Because the reason why it's not a small question is because, yeah, there is this one that brings most of the revenue, but I want to explore which other ones am I not using that I could create a system around, right? And And then I want to explore what would it cost, or what's the opportunity value to bring somebody who would do that for the business only? What would be the opportunity cost on that? So that we can explore it, or bring somebody else to do other things about the business so that the business owner can do it all, can just take that on fully. And so that could be a lot of fun. I can't say which one is there to use without more questions.
I understand. Okay.
Right. So so my last words for today is what made a big difference for me is to think in simple terms. And growing and expanding, it's truly not complex, but allowing oneself to do it is. And that's what I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm. Just trusting yourself enough to take that action.
Yeah, just allow. It's just allow. Allow the expansion, if that person is looking for that.
Mm. You know, I think that is actually the perfect way to close us out today, because when you talk about allowing, it takes me back to what you started with, and it's that people don't really expand their capacity for abundance because perhaps they've got to learn to start with love by loving themselves. And I'm feeling that today. So thank you so much, Giovanni. Let's close out with the rest of our tenets. Absolutely. Send love out into the world, but maybe today let's think just for a minute, love yourself enough to believe in your ability for abundance. And remember to be generous, to give. It will come back to you tenfold. Gio is a perfect example of that right here with us today. And don't take it all too seriously. Remember to laugh, throw that head back, let those endorphins fly. Take care of that body. It's the only one you have. Remember to let it sleep well. Fill it mostly with plants. Get your water, get your sleep. And of course, above all, don't forget to get out of that chair and move that body. We will see you all tomorrow on the Daily Huddle. Thank you all so much for being here.
Excellent job. Thank you very much.
One love, guys. One love.
Thank you all.